A player's motivation is one of the hardest things to price, and it sits right at the heart of Sunderland's interest in Frank Anguissa. The reporting suggests the Napoli midfielder wants to redeem himself with a return to the Premier League, the division he left back in 2022 with a sense of unfinished business. For a 30-year-old entering the final year of his contract, that hunger is being treated as a selling point. It deserves a closer look than that. The first thing to grasp is how little of this Sunderland actually control. Napoli have yet to offer Anguissa a renewal, and the reason is that they're waiting on their incoming manager. With Antonio Conte gone and Massimiliano Allegri reportedly set to take charge, the decisive moment will play out in Naples, where Allegri wants to gauge whether the player still wants to fight for his place long before any bid from Wearside enters the picture. Besiktas and Galatasaray are circling too, so Sunderland are far from the only club waiting on that verdict. And there's a quiet warning folded into it. If a coach of Allegri's standing studies Anguissa and decides he isn't central to the plan, that judgment is worth weighing rather than waving away. A player tends to become freely available only when his current club stops fighting to keep him, and the reasons behind that are always worth understanding before anyone celebrates the opening. Then there's the motivation itself. Redemption is a powerful force in a dressing room, and an experienced midfielder determined to prove a point can lift those around him. But unfinished business is a story a player tells himself, and stories don't always survive a long, punishing season. His most recent campaign in Italy was broken up by injuries, which is reason enough to stay measured about how much he can still give across a fuller calendar. There's a squad consequence tucked inside the appeal too. A player coming back to rewrite his Premier League chapter doesn't arrive hoping to rotate, he arrives expecting to start. In a season where Sunderland will have to spread minutes across the league and Europe, signing someone whose entire purpose is to be central could create friction the first time he's left out. Hunger is an asset, right up until it collides with squad management. The calendar genuinely calls for experienced midfielders who can handle its rhythm, and on pedigree, Anguissa qualifies comfortably. The real question is whether the version available this summer, a 30-year-old whose last campaign was interrupted by injury, driven by something personal, matches what that schedule actually demands. Sunderland would be signing a man on a mission, and that mission is at once the appeal and the complication. Before committing, they'd want to be sure the role he's coming back to chase is the same one they need him to fill, because a player chasing redemption rarely settles quietly for a supporting part.